It began with a letter, creased, smudged, and written in pencil on notebook paper. It came from a 10-year-old girl named Ellie Porter from Logan County, West Virginia. Dear Mr. Dwayne Johnson, it read, my daddy says coal mining is a hard life, but he never complains. I think he's a superhero, but no one on TV ever talks about people like us. If you ever want to meet a real hero, come visit us. We got cornbread. Most celebrities wouldn't even see the letter, much less reply. But Dwayne Johnson, known for his larger-than-life persona and surprising humility, did see it. 3 days later, he messaged his team, find this family. I'm going to West Virginia. The tiny town of Swell Creek wasn't used to visitors, let alone global megastars. So when a black SUV pulled up to the modest weather-worn Porter home, jaws dropped. Ellie's eyes went wide. Mama, she whispered. He actually came. Dwayne stepped out wearing jeans, work boots, and a flannel shirt, not a film crew in sight. I hear someone here makes amazing cornbread, he said with a grin. Her father, Roy Porter, came around the porch corner, wiping coal dust from his arms. He was built like the mountains he worked in, rugged, solid, tired but proud. Mr. Johnson, sir. This is unexpected. Call me Dwayne, he replied, shaking Roy's hand. And I came to meet the hero your daughter told me about. Inside the house, the smell of butter and frying cornbread welcomed them. Dwayne ducked to avoid the low ceiling as he entered their humble kitchen. Ellie beamed. Mama made it fresh. They sat at a rickety wooden table. Dwayne listened as Roy explained the mining life. Waking before dawn, disappearing into shafts of black, risking collapse, gas leaks, and isolation every single day. We don't complain, Roy said, but we wonder sometimes if the world remembers we're down there. Dwayne nodded slowly. They will now. After lunch, Roy offered to take him down to the mine. Dwayne hesitated, but agreed. Only if you think I can handle it. Roy chuckled. We'll find out. They geared up, loaded into an old utility truck, and drove to the mine entrance. As they descended into the darkness, the air grew thick and damp. Dwayne ducked again, moving carefully behind Roy through narrow, dim tunnels. I've been in a lot of intense movie sets, he said. But this is real. This is sacrifice. Roy grunted. People think we're just digging. But we're feeding the country. And then, halfway through the shaft, something shifted, literally. A dull groan echoed through the tunnel walls. A low rumble followed the groan. Dust sifted from the ceiling, and Roy instinctively reached out, steadying Dwayne. Hold up, he muttered. Dwayne froze. He'd faced explosions on set and wrestled in front of thousands, but this was different. This was real. The earth itself was warning them. Roy pressed his hand against the wall. Could be a shift in the strata. Happens sometimes after rain. Dwayne tried to mask his unease. How do you know it's safe? Roy gave a half smile. You don't. You just pray, trust your gut, and keep moving. They kept walking, deeper into the belly of the mine. Along the way, Roy introduced him to the crew, gritty men with soot-covered faces and eyes that had seen too much. They greeted Dwayne with a mix of awe and curiosity. You really came, said one miner named Mitch. Thought it was a joke. I don't joke about real people, Dwayne replied, shaking his hand. This job takes guts. They showed him how to operate the coal shearer, how to stay low in narrow tunnels, and how to listen for danger with more than just ears. Dwayne wasn't just there for a photo op. He worked, shoveling, hauling, even taking a few swings at the coalface. Roy watched him closely. You're not half bad, city boy. Dwayne grinned. Might have missed my calling. Hours passed, and the team broke for a quick snack, jerky and warm water in a dugout alcove. Sitting beside Roy in the dim light, Dwayne asked, "Why do you stay?" Roy didn't answer immediately. Then he said, "Because I owe it to my father. He died in this mine. And because this land, it's part of us. If we leave, it dies too." The silence between them was heavy, not awkward, sacred. As they emerged from the mine hours later, dusk was falling. Ellie ran to greet them, wrapping her arms around Roy. "You came back," she chirped, eyeing the coal smudge on Dwayne's cheek. "Of course he did," Roy said. "He's tougher than he looks." That night, under string lights hung from the porch, the family shared a quiet dinner. Dwayne sat in a rocking chair afterward, sipping sweet tea, listening to the night sounds of the Appalachian hills. Then Roy spoke up. "Thank you for coming. But you didn't have to." Dwayne looked at Ellie, then at Roy. "I did. And I'm not done." Roy raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Dwayne stood. "Tomorrow, I want to visit the local school. I heard it's falling apart. No funding, no heat in the winter." Ellie nodded. "We wear coats inside." Dwayne clenched his jaw. "That's unacceptable." Roy chuckled, but with a trace of hope. "You going to fix the school?" Dwayne didn't smile. "No. I'm going to build them a new one." The table fell silent. The next morning, news spread through Swell Creek like wildfire. Dwayne, "The Rock" Johnson was visiting the elementary school. Kids lined up outside, teachers peeked through windows, and Principal Clara Baines adjusted her cardigan for the third time in 5 minutes. When Dwayne arrived, he didn't bring cameras or press, just a notepad and a sincere look in his eyes. The school was small, cold, and worn. Plaster peeled from the walls. Desks wobbled. In one classroom, Ellie showed him the heater, a dusty unit with a faded, out-of-order sign taped across it. "This is where you learn?" he asked. "Only if we bring extra socks," Ellie joked. Dwayne bent down to her level. "Not for long." He walked every hallway, took photos discreetly, and spoke to teachers. One told him her students shared pencils. Another admitted they hadn't had a new science book since 2004. Back outside, Dwayne addressed the crowd that had gathered. "I came to this town because of a letter," he began. "And I found a family. I saw the strength of the people here, the miners, the moms, the kids who don't complain even when they should." A quiet cheer rose from the community. "But your children deserve better. And I'm going to make that happen." He paused, looking directly at Principal Baines. "We're building a new school. Full heating, safe classrooms, computers, supplies. A place where kids don't have to fight to learn." Tears welled in her eyes. She tried to speak but couldn't. Dwayne continued, "This isn't charity. This is investment. In people who've given more than they've ever asked for." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick folder. "I've already hired architects. The land survey starts next week." The townspeople erupted, not with fanfare, but with heartfelt applause, handshakes, and a few stunned, "Are you serious?" whispers. Later that night, back at the Porter home, Roy sat quietly on the porch, sipping coffee. Dwayne joined him. "You didn't have to do that," Roy said. Dwayne shrugged. "But I did." Roy glanced at him. "This kind of thing changes lives." Dwayne nodded. "It should. Because places like this matter." Then he said it, the promise he knew would be hard but necessary. "I'm coming back when it opens. And I'll be there every year after, for as long as I can, to remind these kids what they're worth. Roy raised his mug. Then your family now. Dwayne clinked his cup. Wouldn't want it any other way. Months passed. Construction crews rolled into Swell Creek with cement mixers, cranes, and blueprints that looked more like dreams than plans. The townspeople watched as their gravel lot became a foundation, and their foundation became walls. Dwayne visited often, never making a scene, always rolling up in jeans and boots, shaking hands, laughing with kids, and helping where he could. One day, he even operated a backhoe under Roy's supervision. "You ever drive one of these?" Roy asked. "Nope," Dwayne said, grinning. "But I've driven tanks in movies." "Close enough." "Not even remotely," Roy replied, but he let him try anyway. The town changed. Donations came in after the story went viral online. Anonymous gifts, new supplies, and grants followed. Dwayne refused to let it become political or promotional. "This is for them," he'd say. "Just them." And finally, a year later, the new Swell Creek Learning Center stood tall. Solar panels on the roof, smartboards in the rooms, a state-of-the-art library, and best of all, full heating. Opening day arrived in spring. The whole town gathered. Ellie stood front and center with a red ribbon in her hand. Principal Baines, wearing her Sunday best, stood beside her. Roy wore his cleanest overalls, and Lisa Porter clutched a handkerchief like it was her last lifeline. Dwayne stepped onto the stage, wearing a navy suit this time, but still with scuffed boots underneath. "This building is more than walls and windows," he began. "It's a promise, one your children can walk into every day. A promise that the world hasn't forgotten them." The ribbon was cut. The crowd roared. Kids rushed in with wide eyes and gasps of delight. In a quiet moment later that day, Ellie pulled Dwayne aside. "Did you really mean what you said? That you'll come every year?" Dwayne knelt beside her. "Every year, as long as I'm able." She smiled. "Good. Because you're part of Swell Creek now. Forever." Dwayne placed a hand on her shoulder. "And that's the greatest role I've ever had." As the sun set over the Appalachian Hills, Roy and Lisa watched the town's kids run and laugh across the new playground. "You gave them hope," Roy said. "No," Dwayne replied, looking at Ellie. "They gave it to me." And with that, he walked back toward the laughter, not as a star, but as one of their own.